My name is Mary Davie, and I am a 1988 graduate from Virginia Tech with a double major in business finance and business management. And I started this journey actually while I was still at Virginia Tech. I got a really neat summer job with a little known federal agency. At least that's kind of how we laughingly refer to it, because within the federal government, it's very well known. It provides a lot of services to other federal agencies. And I landed in a place where this particular agency was providing procurement assistance or supporting other federal agencies with the procurement of IT. So kind of one thing led to another. And after I graduated from Tech, they offered me a full-time position, and I was smart enough to take it and got all kinds of exposure to working pretty much with every federal agency, both civilian and DoD, and places like Germany, Hawaii, all across the United States, and just really got to work on a lot of really neat technology projects that kind of spanned everything. And it just, was really an exciting and challenging opportunity where you continue to learn and grow. And so progressively, I just started working in that space and working with all kinds of companies in technology, and just had great opportunities in front of me for my entire career, really. So I feel very lucky to have just kind of accidentally stepped into this. Mission support is sort of the foundation of all the things that you need to make an organization run. So we do I should say we don't do it all. We help the rest of NASA, in this case, for instance, hire the people that we need, both internal people. We do all the contracting to get the partners in place. So when you see things like NASA and SpaceX are working together, or NASA and Blue Origin are working together, the mission support folks are the contracting people, right, that put those contracts in place, working with the technical projects and programs who are saying, here's what we need and when we need it. Here are the kind of capabilities and skills that we really need, for our science and our human exploration missions, our technology research missions, our aero missions. So we do that. We do all the financial management, all the IT and technology. Things like partnerships with other federal agencies, with other countries. So that's a big component of what we do, all the communications, legal services. So within NASA, there are 13 what we call functional organizations and mission support. And so again, really the underpinning to ensure that the agency gets what it needs, when it needs, to launch things and people into space. And it's part of my background, where I was helping other federal agencies, largely procure technology and professional services. That organization was a business-based organization. And again, we provided services for the rest of the federal agency to run. So that's kind of the journey that I've been on, and really more of a support role. But what I think is really exciting is, especially in this case, the mission is just amazing, with NASA launching or announcing last week, right, plans to now go look at Venus again. And we're on the path for Artemis, which is the moon to Mars. And, we've got the rover on Mars, we've got the helicopter on Mars. So, even if you're in mission support, you are a huge part of making those things happen, and you really feel it. And it's just really incredibly exciting. So one of the interesting things, when I came into NASA a little over a year ago, they have been on a journey in the support functions for a few years now to just, become more efficient and effective, try to continuously improve and make sure that we're serving the agency and the missions better. And so part of what that looks like is there are 10 NASA centers. And as in, many organizations, again, the one I came from was sort of in a similar place, where each of those centers had their own finance and IT and procurement and human capital organizations. And NASA determined that, a more effective way to kind of run the support would be to run it at an enterprise level and make sure that each center then got what they needed. And so we've been on that journey for about 3 years now, getting ready to finish that. And so that's been a bit of a culture shift. We're trying to figure out how do you best serve the enterprise and make use, for instance, of all the great people across the country with the different skills and knowledge that they have, so that they're not limited to just working at one center. But again, historically, they have really worked for one center. And so you might hear somebody say, I'm a Kennedy employee or I'm a Johnson employee. It's like, yes. And we're all NASA employees. So we're really working through the culture change, and we're working through things like getting out of old legacy IT, where maybe we had duplicative applications for HR or for finance at every center just because of the way that we had been organized. Things naturally evolve that way. And so that's a shift, is saying, okay, what are our enterprise requirements, but what do the centers and the missions also really need at the local level? How do we restructure our systems? How do we restructure our contracts and our partnerships? And so that has been ongoing. And I think that'll be something that will continue to evolve over time, because these things, it takes time, right, to get out of legacy processes or old policy, legacy IT. So those are the things that we'll continue to work on. And I think the demands on us have continued to increase, particularly given the audacious missions that we have with things like Artemis and, Venus, and launching James Webb Space Telescope. So mission support, again, is stepping up to play its important role in making these things happen too. So we have to continue to evolve and change, just as NASA does. So I think, coming into it and just this idea of going back to the moon, and then going on to Mars, and as somebody who's maybe been watching this and saying, well, gosh, why are we going back to the moon? Why are we going to Mars? What are we hoping to learn? Just as we are with our science missions, right? This is all about finding out information about how to make our lives better on this planet. So, once you start to really understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, why we're looking for, things like signs of life or water, and what that would then mean to the more that we know about our planet, how it was created, what the lifespan might look like, what the differences in climate change, really mean to us. And that's one exciting thing with our new administration is, this focus on climate and science. That is exactly what we do. And so we're getting an opportunity to really showcase all the great science and things that we're doing in the agency that are really helpful to improving our life on this planet. So, while we're focused in space, it really is all about bettering our lives here. And so that's just really exciting to me. I'd say it is all there. When I started, after graduating in the late 80s and getting into early 90s, there wasn't a lot of women, for instance, in the technology sector. And I would find myself, at events or even in meetings and being one of very few women there. But now, it's just, we're everywhere. It's fantastic. We have a lot to offer. And I would strongly encourage that if that is your passion, because there are so many different ways to contribute. You don't have to be, for instance, a scientist or an engineer. As me at NASA, I am not that, but I can still play a really important role and get to be a part of it. And so I think, you should pursue your dream. Go for it. And there's just so many different ways to contribute and be part of the STEM community. Yeah, so I was really lucky when I started with a small little group that I started out when I was still in Virginia Tech. It was a mix of, men and women, but they really embraced me personally and professionally. And I think that's why I came back, is they saw potential in me. And they made me feel like I was a part of the team right away. And there were some really strong women in the group that were, just really smart and great mentors to me. And then as I started to progress in my career, I got to work for a West Point grad. She was actually the first class of the ladies at West Point, and again, just really smart. We hit it off personally. We're still friends today. So she was an awesome role model. And then at that time, there was also the leader of our entire organization was female, and she was just really wonderful to me too, to encourage me to do new things and gave me leadership opportunities. And she and I are actually still very close today, and that's been 30 years ago. So yeah, women are everywhere. There's a great number of women in federal IT. And so it's just a great community of people that are just willing to support each other. So Virginia Tech, the experience was incredible. And I think that's what keeps the Hokie community so tight knit. Like yesterday, I was on the top of a mountain in Shenandoah. There was a guy with a Virginia Tech hat on. The first thing you do is say, "Go with Hokies." Like you don't know the person, but that's just what we do and who we are. And I honestly think sort of that sense of community has really helped me in my career. And the work that I've done, again, has been supporting other federal agencies and working with so many different people across a lot of different companies, that you have also that sense of community and you feel that connection and that ability. Hey, we're all in this together and we're all here to support each other and do the best that we can and make it work. And I think that you really feel that at Virginia Tech, and that has really carried over into my professional life. And I work with a lot of Hokies, both internal NASA, internal government, and then across with a bunch of different companies, especially up here in Northern Virginia. So that community sense is very strong and has really served me well. Yeah, the one thing really is to consider federal service. I sit on the board of Pamplin's management department, and I'm the only federal board member. And so I love to play the role of please consider federal service. It's not something that I had planned. Again, as I said, I kind of lucked into that first job. And now knowing what I know about the federal government, having worked there for 33 years, there's just so much opportunity in the government across every career field, and the ability to really, if you have a passion for something like the environment or science or people, you can find any federal agency really and align your passion with the work. And I think that's what makes a lot of difference for people. And you've got to be really happy, with kind of what you're doing. And that's a great way to think about it. And then of course, the opportunities really are endless once you get in and you have the ability to move around. And I was never afraid to kind of raise my hand and just say, yeah, I'll try the next thing. And that worked out really, really well for me. And just it's been an awesome career. So that's probably the one plug that I'd love to get in there.